What do you want? You want the moon?
I think I finally know what I want to do with my life. I'm going to join the entertainment industry.
Abby, everybody knows you can't make any money with an arts degree.
But won't it make me happy?
Money can make you happy.
That's right, boys and girls. At Skitbags Radio, money can buy you happiness that creativity can't. We always talk to the best in Hollywood and entertainment who are going to show you how to buy the happiness you deserve. Always on Dash Talk X. And you better buckle up, saddle in, take your phone off the hook because we got a brand new ball game. Let's go.
All aboard!
Ooh, hey, Robbie. Hey, Steve. You want to come with me? Look at the old man's haunted house in the corner. I'm scared to go there, man. What you talking about? Oh, little dog. I mean, why you acting like... Yeah, I'll go. All right, y'all. Come on. We're going to go over there. We're going to knock on the door, and we're going to scare old man RGP. Come on. All right, come on. Come on. All right. You knock. I ain't knocking. Go ahead and knock. No, man, I'll knock. Y'all a couple of punks up. Oh my God! Oh shit! It's dark down here. What does those letters say? R G P. Oh my God! Oh my God! It's Ryan Gregory Phillips with Skitbags Radio, and we're gonna throw it down and get it around town. I'm Mr. CD Enforcer, aka Poppy, call it a bad boy, and I got the guys with me. We're gonna talk all about entertainment, film, and how it goes down in the grimiest places. Skitbags Radio.
Wow.
Hot damn,
We're
Carl.
here. That was one of the longer ones you've ever done.
I know.
I needed to develop the character.
You took us on an adventure,
I know,
man.
dude. You really established all 5 of those characters. That was great. Yeah.
Awesome. Ryan, welcome to the show, man.
Thanks, man. Thanks for having me.
Pleasure to have you.
Pleasure.
Close a little closer to your face. There you go. It's all good.
I can turn them up.
Yeah, turn me
Okay.
up a little bit. There we go.
Put it in your face.
It's all good.
Yeah. So Ryan is a film director and also a director of branded content, various marketing spots, music videos of present and future, past. And tell us how you got your start. Did you always know when you were a kid that you wanted to get into directing, or was it something that came along once you got into school and you're like, oh, this looks like the direction I want to go in, kind of thing?
Yeah, that's an interesting story because I grew up in a dairy farm in upstate New York. So
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
Where all the good
part?
ones are bred.
yeah, between Rochester and Syracuse, like the Finger Lakes.
Okay,
like,
yeah.
Small little town, right?
My cousins live in Syracuse, and my
Yeah, I'm
friends
right
and
next to
family in Ithaca.
Yeah, I'm right there, which
Right
is
in there.
ironic because Ithaca has a amazing film school, and
Yeah.
So I've
decided to
heard.
travel the world and go to the film schools that weren't right next to my house. Yeah, it just doesn't make any sense. But no, basically, I grew up on a dairy farm. I don't know. I was always making videos when I was younger, like really just weird shit, man. Like I used to make these videos called Barbie's Day Out, and it would be like blowing up like Barbies and lighting them on fire. my parents would send me to like therapists and stuff because like
Typical day in the life of a Barbie doll.
yeah, there's like blood everywhere, and like I was like the kid that would like jump off the balcony with like a like I'd see Aladdin and be like, oh well, if he's on a magic carpet,
Oh, attempt
like,
to fly.
yeah, I could. This can work. Clearly, it did not. So yeah, I don't know, man. It was weird because in high school I always felt, and I never really thought of like what I wanted to do afterwards. I was just always like in that moment, and then I remember senior year, my guidance counselor like didn't tell me shit. Just kind of was like, oh, you're graduated. Like, and I remember they just kind of talked me into being what are those doctors that like a radiologist?
Yeah.
So I would like go and like meet with radiologists, and I'm like, what the fuck am I doing? I don't know if I can swear on this. What am I doing?
you can.
I was like, what the fuck am I doing?
Abso-fucking-lutely.
Yeah, I was like, what the fucking perfect. I was always just like, whoa, like, what am I doing? What am I doing? And I remember my buddy Tony had said that he was gonna go to New York City and do film. And I was like, wow, that sounds like just such a better option than being a fucking radiologist. And
Yeah.
and I remember it was weird too, because at the time I was so hardcore into skateboarding. My dad was actually awesome. He built a skate park for us in the top of our barn. So for
Well, that's
years,
not dope at all.
No,
To be
Dude, it was-
the only
I know.
kid with a skate park in your
Literally,
barn.
there would be fucking lines of people, like
I
to the
know.
point of like I would get sick of it. Like I would put a lock on it because I just didn't want people at my house all the time.
That's like
Yeah.
a '90s kids movie feature in a house.
And it wasn't just like a little skate park. Like it was fucking everything.
Like
It was like
full-blown.
Nija Houston type.
It's like
shit.
the Paper Brigade, how they had that sick treehouse that no possible group of kids could ever build. And
Yeah.
then you
Right.
guys have a
No,
skateboard.
it was insane. And so yeah, I skated for my entire high school career, and then Zoomies from California actually was like in town in Rochester for like this, I don't know, some sort of demo workshop or something. Somebody had been like, oh, there's this fucking skate park out in the middle of the cornfield, like in this barn, like you got to go, check it out.
Yeah.
And so we all ended up meeting up, skating in the barn. My one of my close friends was sponsored by them at the time. He came over, we were all skating, and then they were like, yo, we want to sponsor you, like, this could be good, blah, 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 blah. So I did, and that was fucking awesome. So I was like, well, I'm just going to become a professional skateboarder, like,
Yeah.
I'm going to keep going. And then I was wrestling at the time, too. This was my senior year, and I ended up fucking up, like, breaking my knee.
Ooh.
Got it fixed, and then I was skating again. I was doing a demo, and that was kind of the nail in the coffin. Like I tweaked it out.
Oh, man.
Like because it wasn't fully healed, and I fucked it up, and so I was done for like a year, and I was like, oh well, like maybe I should just go to school, and then I'll come back to it, and then go from amateur to pro, which. Don't ever fucking do that because you'll never come back. Like, you start getting older and you're like, this is not smart. But
cool.
no, I ended up. It was weird because I write all my stuff too, and as a writer, I am just the dumbest person when it comes to grammar, which is ironic. Like I just don't understand it. Like when I write my scripts, I write how we're talking right now. Like there's like that banter and those pauses and all that. But I just don't understand.
Like when you're writing the dialogue of characters, or when you're writing like the actions and everything else in the script, or
like
both.
the dialogue I have down because like
Right.
I write
For the
it how-
character.
yeah, and that always stays to like my voice. But I don't know. It's just like the proper grammar, the proper formatting, this and that, and so it was weird because I was very insecure for it for so many years, and I had all A's in high school except for English, of course, and my teacher Keith Childs, who I really just give a ton of credit to because that's why I'm in film today, a big part of it, anyways. He basically came to me and he's like, "Listen, like." Your shit sucks, but he's like, you can tell stories. He's like, you're really, really good at telling stories. He's like, listen, like if you basically, because it was like the only class that I had like a C in, and he was like, if you enter in this Rochester International Short Film Festival, if you make a movie, like you don't even have to come to class. Like I'll just give you basically like an A.
That's
Dope.
pretty dope. That's
And-
a dope teacher.
And he knew that like I was gonna go do it, and I did. I made it with Tony. We went out there and we shot this fucking black and white. It was called Rêve lucide, like French for lucid dream. Like, come on, man.
Sounds like one of the classic short film things with the silent
Yeah,
music
no, it was.
and all
I had
that.
like a briefcase and we're chasing each other around town and shit.
That's
and,
funny.
Classic.
And we ended up winning Best Edited Film at that festival. And that was how I got my scholarship to LIU to study directing. And that was kind of like the kickoff of everything. Like I ended up in New York City, studied there for several years, loved it. Wasn't a huge fan of the school. Getting used to people from Long Island and New York City from being a hillbilly was a little rough on me.
It's a little different.
Little
I'm not a
different.
big fan of the city either.
Yeah.
I love LA though. It's weird.
Well, people always call me a
different.
chameleon because I adapt to the situation I'm in. So within a year, I have like a blowout. I'm smoking Newport 100s.
So
on the
you
fucking
just
corner.
culturally appropriate the shit out of it. Like,
Yeah.
I'm in.
I became super douchebag. I was like, fuck
We're
yeah,
gonna put
dude.
you in Jersey. You're
Yeah.
gonna start drinking Jaeger bombs.
Oh, I had 'em, dude. That's all we drank.
We're in Ed Hardy and stuff.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Armani Exchange, man. That's
There
what
you
I had. And no, so it was cool, man. I really loved it. And then I don't know, like I ended up getting my degree, but I decided that I wanted to. There's always an aspect like I love helping people. I love figuring out problems. I can never solve my own shit because I don't take my own advice. But I realized that I wanted to like do psychology or a psychiatrist type of route. And I wanted to get out of New York. So I basically finished there and decided I was going to go to school yet again and waste more of my parents' money.
Right.
Thank you, Mom and Dad. I went to University of South Carolina and started studying medicine. Like I wanted to do something with psychiatry and all that. Quickly into that. I loved it. I just was like, I can't do this for 8 years. And I started, it's like,
a lot of work, man.
It's a lot. It's too, it's so much. And I had already been through school as it was. And so it was weird because David O. Russell was there filming a movie. He came there, he did like Silver Linings Playbook and, Three Kings and all that. And I went on set as an intern. And basically, this is the first time I met anybody famous. I ran into Jessica Biel, and like she was like at the craft service table, and I was so fucking bad. Yeah. So I was like walking through, and like I ran into her, and I was like, dude, she's hot as hell, like she's a smoke show, and I'm like, oh my god. And I had this banana, and I was like, and I'm like looking at her, and she's like, and I'm like, I'm not making no sense. She's like, okay, breathe. And I was like, you're pretty or something. And she's like, it's so, awesome. Dude, it's so awkward. And so then she goes, listen, like, it's okay. Like, I understand. She goes, and she starts laughing. She's like, I mean, just think of me like as a normal person. Like I got big feet. Like she like points at her feet, and like now I'm looking at her feet holding this banana, and then I just like look at her and real creepy. I'm like, hey, you want a banana?
Hey, you want?
And so like it was, dude. And then like I literally turned around and Justin Timberlake was there because I guess that was like a thing or something at the time. And then I'm like, gah, and like. It was everybody there. It was like Jake Gyllenhaal, all these fucking people, and I realized at that moment what it was to be on like a real film set.
Yeah.
And I was like,
what movie were they shooting?
It's called Nailed, and it actually never finished because it's out now. I think you can get it on VOD. Like somebody else bought it up, but this was like 10 years ago, and like it just fucking came out. And I'm like, I want to watch it.
It must be super good.
Yeah, it must be super good. It's basically from what I saw, there's no health care where she's at, and she gets this ladder falls and this fucking nail goes into her brain and she becomes a nymphomaniac. and so
Jessica Biel?
Yeah, she becomes a nymphomaniac.
What a
great premise.
James Marsden's in it, Tracy Morgan's in it, like all these
It's
people.
full of great people.
Is this a comedy?
Yeah, it's a comedy. And then Jake Gyllenhaal plays a politician, and she's trying to meet with him to get like better health care so she can get this fucking nail out of her head.
Wow. David O. Russell does it again.
Yeah, David O. Russell does it again. But that was the crazy thing is like in the middle of all this, like I ran into him one day. Like, I mean, like this, he's got a fucking track record of like always yelling at people, throwing shit across.
Oh yeah,
sets.
we've seen the videos.
Yeah, we've seen the videos. So it was happening on the set, like every fucking 2 seconds. And I remember, I don't know, he threw like, somebody was saying he like threw a printer at Jake Gyllenhaal's head, and like I remember hearing like screaming, and he came out, and I was walking this way again. I was an art intern, so I'm just like fucking doing like acting like I'm doing something, and I walked through, and he like came out, and I fucking ran into him, and he was like, "What the fuck?" He's like fucking freaked out. I was like, "What?" I'm like, "Ah!" Like, this is it. I was like, "This isn't the fucking Jessica Biel moment anymore." Like, you want a banana? Have this banana. So he basically, I don't know, man. He said, and I don't remember it exactly, but the way he said it, it just like stuck with me. He was like, "What the fuck are you doing?" And I was like, "I'm just an art intern." And then he was like, "Is that what you want to be for the rest of your life?" Like literally, like yelling at all these other people. And I was like, "No, I want to direct." And then he was like, "Why the fuck are you not over there where I'm sitting?" And I was like, I don't. Like,
that's a good question, David.
Yeah. So I ended up just like he's like looking at it, and I just fucking walked over, and for like the next 3 weeks in camp, like that
followed him around.
That was my shit, man. Like it was just like I was like this kind of like little dog that just like watched, and I mean he's amazing, man. He's a fucking genius. Like he obviously doesn't know how to communicate with people well. Paul Rubens was on it too. Pee Wee Herman.
Oh, tight.
Because fucking Pee Wee used to come by all the time and be like, well, like, oh. He was always fucking smoking blunts and getting high as shit.
What?
That's awesome.
That is hilarious.
Fuck yeah.
And
Classic
so,
Pee-wee.
Classic Pee Wee.
Classic Pee Wee, dude.
Oh, you know that Pee Wee. That's a new character.
Yeah. So it just kind of got to the point where like after it was done, and they ran out of money because they had to keep stopping.
Of course,
so that's
yeah.
why this never finished. And then it was it, man. Like I realized that was what I wanted to do. And I really had no other options. It's like, I'm not gonna fucking go back and do psychiatry. And I always planned on in the future doing some sort of life coaching or helping people and giving back, which is interesting where I'm at now because I think I can start to help people, especially getting into the industry and the shit I've gone through in the last 10 years, kind of give that back. But yeah, I packed up my shit. I stayed there for like an extra year because I was dating this girl. Then I found out she was fucking someone else, and I was like, well, nothing keeping me here.
Right.
So I asked my fraternity brother, and I was like, yo, what are you doing? And he's like, what do you mean? And I was like right now, what are you doing? He's like, oh, I got a test in the morning. And I was like, you want to go to California? And he's like,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I'll fuck with that. He's like, so he got in the car, and it was like a 2-week road trip. We fucking went everywhere and went all around. And then I got out here. And I was all jazzed up. I was like,
How many years ago was this at this point?
This was 2009. Okay.
Oh wow! So you
yeah.
just had a 10-year anniversary,
Yeah,
or not quite?
Just about to.
Just about. Okay.
Yeah. So 2009. It'll be August. I pulled into town, moved into basically a closet with like one of my fraternity brothers was downtown. It was like a closet with a blow-up air mattress.
Sweet.
And and basically I was like, you show up. I've got 2 bachelor's degrees at this point, so I'm fucking set. I've got
You thought.
I've got 15 international film festival awards, so I'm fucking set.
Right.
And I'm like, here we go. Let's direct some shit. Yeah, no, that's not happening.
Yeah.
No one gives a fuck.
Yeah.
No one fucking cared. And for 5 years, I bartended. I fucking did background acting. I had went to a shoot that my agent at the time sent me to, which was actually a foot fetish shoot.
Oh.
Yeah, that was fucking cool.
No nudity though.
No nudity, just my foot.
Just a paycheck.
Just my foot. And I was like, they were like, if there was a small toy, would you if we put a small toy here, would you step on it? And I'm like, quickly, I'm texting Adam, and I'm like, what the fuck is this? Like, what is going on here? And then I was like, wait a second, how much? How much would they're like, oh, a couple $100. I'm like, dude, fucking line these cars up. Let's go. Let's go. So somewhere out there,
Bring in the toys.
somewhere out there, my foot is fucking, and it's weird too because I have a tattoo on my foot, so it's very distinguishable.
Oh, so you can charge premium rates.
Yeah.
So people know it's your foot.
Yeah.
It's trademarked and branded.
I was just talking to somebody about this the other day. They were like, she was like, oh, because I took a picture of the dog and I was like curling my toes under, and she's like, are you hiding your feet? And I was like, I'm hiding my toes because I get fucking weird messages on Instagram all the time. Like, I love your toe. I love the, what do they say? They're like, it's edgy and badass that you have a tattoo on your foot.
Oh my God.
I'm like, is it more valuable? Is it sexier? Because it's still just a dude's foot. Like,
I mean, I'm not a fan, to be honest.
Like whatever you want. No, so I grinded. I did. I paid my dues. Was a personal assistant for a couple celebrities, couple writers, and then just kind of kept my head down. And they say the same shit every year. Oh, like next year, we're gonna hook you up. We're gonna do this, and I'm like, this is just a fucking, it's a repetitive thing. And that was when I really started to I just watched for so long that I started to figure out how everything fit together. And that was the big thing, was like, I was like, you know what? Like, they're clearly not going to do anything. Like, I'm not going to advance. Like, I need to make this happen myself. So I picked a date. I was bartending at the time in Hermosa Beach, and I was working
nice. Where at in Hermosa?
That fucking, I don't know what it's called now. It's the Misfits bar. It's where they have like the Misfits put money into it. It's right there on the main stretch.
St. Rock?
not St. Rock.
It doesn't matter. I live down there. That's why
they changed the name now. It used to be called Misfits Bar, and it's like that big. You know that nightclub, the Blue nightclub, like the
on the pier.
Like basically right there on the pier, like off to the.
Yeah, that's gone now too.
Really?
Yeah, they turned it into a place called Tower 12. There's like Sharkies and Hennessy's and like Lighthouse and all that stuff is still
Hennessy's,
there.
is that where all the black people go?
It's actually an Irish pub.
I was bartending there. Clearly, that was me.
Irish people are black, so that counts. That counts. That is count.
Anyways,
no, I haven't been down there fucking forever. That's crazy. No, so
I relate a lot when you talk about bartending because that's one of the things I did a lot too, and what we gear our show toward the up and comers in the industry. So I really like the kid in Iowa who wants to get into filmmaking or entertainment. Like, where do they start? How do they how do they go about it? So all of this that you're saying is awesome and really relevant.
Yeah.
That's why I just wanted to highlight it and for our listeners out there and just
for sure. I mean,
awesome.
bartending is like
real,
and those jobs are the hardest to get. Like, you really have to fucking be lucky to even get one of those because, like, I mean, as you know, like, it's like you pass it on to people you know after you're done with the job.
It's very close knit.
Yeah, it's a close knit thing. And so I picked a date. I was like, you know what? And I was. Again, playing the game, I was using my personal assistant thing to also connect with the producers that they knew to kind of start putting this film together that I wanted to do. So basically, I was stealing their contacts. But, fucking sit around for 5 years, you get pissed off enough, and you're like, I'm going to do this. So I picked a date. I was like, I'm going to quit on this date. And that's it, because I was so comfortable. I was making money, I was having a good time, but I was like, I'm never gonna fucking live my dream if I don't, go for it. So I think the date was like April 24th. Like the 23rd, they were throwing me this party, and I'm like bartending, and there was always these two beautiful cougars that would come in. They would just come in, and they were like so sexy, and like. Like I told them, I was like, I'm leaving, and they're like, cool. And I was like, I was like, I'm 10 grand short of what I need for my first indie feature. And one of the ladies, I go to the back and I come back out, and she pushes this like slip of paper across the table, and I look at it, and I'm like, what the fuck? And I'm like looking at it, and fucking $10,000.
Damn, nice.
And I was like, what the fuck? And so I literally was like. I look at it and I was like, I can't. And she looks at me, she goes, I'll be at home later. I live right down the street.
Oh, yeah.
She's like, come over, stay in my hot tub, yada, yada, yada. And I'm like, what the fuck is happening right now? And so I freaked out. I went to the back and I called the lady I was personal assisting for, and I was like, this just happened. What do I do? And she's like, what do you mean, what do you do? You go fuck her.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
and do it good.
I was like, damn, dude. Like, so I was like, that wasn't what I was looking for. So I called my mom.
What?
I'm like, Mom,
what should I do?
That was not the phone call I was expecting.
My mom and I are super fucking tight. I think I called my dad too, but basically they both said the same thing. They were like, are you, what the fuck? Like, go fuck her. And I'm like, and I had some dumb morality thing going on where I was like, I just can't do it, blah, blah, blah. Which, correction, right now, you give me 10,000, I'll go fucking suck a dick for 10,000. Like, this
I'll
is
see you in the theaters.
This is entertainment, man. Like what we were saying, like fucking DiCaprio's gonna produce the film. All right, what do we gotta do? Let's fucking do it. You know
what we saving some whales over here, Leo?
10 years later, your soul is just, you're like, whatever, man. Fuck it.
Well, that's a good takeaway for the person back home in Iowa that we talk about, like the stories that you're mentioning. I feel like when I came here, I feel like no matter how many accolades you got, no matter how many talents you got, no matter who you know, I feel like people want you to pay a certain amount of dues.
For sure.
Like for some reason, they had to wait 5-10 years before they got their chance, or before they got pissed enough to go for it.
Yeah.
And whatnot. And it was the same thing, just like the film you had. All those great actors. We done probably helped finish movies like that with 5, 6, 7, 10 actors. Yeah. They run out of money in the middle. Then like Skitbags or like Mickey or one of the guys like, oh, well, fuck, I'll pay for it just to keep it going. Yeah. You have all these great things. Yeah. And it feels like people don't really want to give it to you until you almost go and get it yourself.
It's true.
You know what I mean?
You really, they want to see you bleed for it. And I think that was the thing. So like, I went out and I told her, I was like, I can't do it. I gave the money back, and then she left. I went to the back bar to get something. I came back out and the check was still there. And she's like, I really respect you. And I was like, fuck, dude. And like, I still got to give her a call and be like, you know what? Let's do this.
I owe you a fucking.
I owe you a fucking. She's a sweetheart.
We'll just cut this up into a clip.
Yeah, there you go. I owe you.
All right.
Looking for her. So I made my movie, made my first feature. It was called Southern Comfort. Don't go looking for it.
Soko.
It was.
Don't go look.
Don't
What
go.
a name like that? I'm intrigued about this
Like,
name.
what style was it? What kind of style?
It was a romantic comedy drama that ended up turning into a psychological.
There's always
thriller.
good drama in a nice rom-com.
So you're blowing up the Barbies again.
It's
huh?
fucking. Dude, here's the thing. I didn't write it. We found it. It was about a young artist, actor from Hollywood who was washed up, childhood star. He ended up basically, he wanted to try out for the new Rhett Butler movie, Gone with the Wind. They were redoing it. So he moves to South Carolina, where we shot it, to learn how to become a Southern gentleman. And while he's there, he falls in love with this chick named Betty Lane. These fucking names. He falls in love with this Betty chick. They fall in love, but he doesn't tell, like, oh, I'm actually a Hollywood actor, and this is all a gig. And then she finds out, and basically, she's like, fuck you, and like he loses her, and then trying to win her back, type of thing. So it was a cool little script. Fuck, man, there was this and the problem was I'm not ashamed of it, because like you gotta have your first one. You gotta cut your teeth. You gotta fucking feel it out. It's not fucking dog's falling asleep with its eyes open.
So cute.
It's just one of those things that, like, dude, we made it for nothing, basically, and to shoot it in Charleston, to have like a 40-person cast, like we had Sean Stone in the movie, Oliver Stone's son, awesome, playing himself. Like, motherfucker has like a samurai sword in one scene. He brought a samurai sword to set, and he played himself playing a character called The Fist. Like, he literally walked on the set and was like, "This is what I'm doing," and I'm like looking at this. I'm like, what the fuck is happening? But it's Oliver Stone's son. Like, what are you gonna say? Like, Sean is like, I'm fucking doing this, and I'm like, all right. I guess Sean's fucking doing this. Like, it's cool. But it, like, we got done with the cut. There was some issues with producers and different other people, and like, we had to recut it a bunch of times, and then I kind of took it in more of a psychological type of way. And then I had to remove myself kind of from the project, just because there was too many issues with everybody else, and it wasn't even mine anymore. Like, one of the fucking original writers that we optioned it from, because it got into a bunch of festivals, and then we had a lawsuit against us because the original fucking writer sued me for, sued the Pasadena Film Festival to not put it in there, because they said that I stole the writing. And I'm like, dude, I have all the fucking option agreements right here. Yeah. And this all came after the fact that he had asked me on a date, and I clearly had a girlfriend at the time, so that was not going to work.
Right. So at least give me $10,000.
Yeah, at least give me $10,000. I think there was a miscommunication over the last 10 months that we had worked together, and clearly you've met my fucking ex who's about to become my fiance. At what point were we going to go on a date? And so all these lawsuits happened. It stopped it from doing festivals. Everything got fucked up. That's how I met my lawyer, Robert Klieger, who's fucking one of the best guys in the city. He's amazing. Shout out to Rob.
Shout out Rob.
Shout out Rob. And he ended up fucking saving my ass, and everything went good. And then, that was like 2 years of my life. You're fucking drained after it. I'm like, I'm over this shit.
Yeah.
Very unmotivated.
Yeah, you're like you just get kicked in the nuts, and so I went and did music videos. I fucking did this music video for a friend of a friend who had worked with MTV, and I didn't know it. Like, I was on my way out of town. I was like, I'm fucking done with this shit. And I was leaving, and I ended up just shooting this thing last minute myself. It was for Ariel Indigo, and she, this thing ended up like fucking front page Perez Hilton. It was Revolt TV premiere. Like, it was everywhere. It just went crazy. So I started getting all these really crazy fucking DP requests. They're like, oh, will you come shoot this? I don't know how to DP. I have no idea.
You do now.
I literally went on YouTube, and I'm like, and I had this fucking camera, and so I'd literally show up to set, and they would be like, is it supposed to look that dark? And I'm like, yes.
Did you even know like all the nuns? You know how to be like, oh, give me a 30 or a 40. Yeah. Do you know like all that stuff too?
I knew the lenses enough to bullshit,
get away with it,
enough to fake it to make it. Yeah. But But like I'm fucking cranking like we're in like the middle of a room and like my ISO is like fucking 146,000. Like it's like blown out. And I'm like, oh my God. And so I don't know, man. I just kept riding that wave, and I kept getting more and more fucking. Because I would go in, I do the coloring too. So then I could go into like fucking Premiere, and I was working with DaVinci at the time, and I crank it back down. And, like level out. They're like, oh my God, it looks so amazing. I'm like, I told you it would.
Dude, me and my homeboys won a competition like that once. Like we had overblown scenes and everything. It was like, oh my God, the way you overblew the scene, it made it look like she was talking to God. We was like, no, man, we totally thought it was fucked up because we didn't know about white walls.
Talking to God.
And in the sun at the time. So we was when we looked at it on film, it was like, oh, it's all overblown, it's all fucked up. I told you we should have did that. I mean, we argued about it for weeks. We thought we lost, and come to find out, we ended up actually winning the film competition. And people thought all these fucking mistakes we made in the movie were like artistic genius interpretation. They were just, oh, the way you guys did this, and the way you guys did that. I was like, no, we argued about using 2 cameras, and we was missing something that day, and everything is fucked up. And it's just like,
it's fucking crazy, man. And it's just you just like you ride that fucking wave and you just go with it because like even the dumbest shit, like I use like footage that's been fucked up before as like fillers and stuff, and you're like you never know. But then I started getting a lot bigger ones. I was working with like Neon Hitch. I did rebranding for her, and shit just kind of fucking went through the roof. But like the shitty part about that is I love doing music. Fucking love it, man. Like,
How is that? I mean, obviously there's a lot of differences between doing a feature and doing a music video, but like when you approach it, it's like, how long is like your shoot to post time typically? Like, what is that process like? We haven't had somebody on that's done music videos before, so we haven't really talked about that.
I don't think so, no.
It's weird because I'm doing a music video Thursday for these guys called Floyd Wonder. Shout out to Floyd. They're actually like #1 on the charts right now in Canada. Something like that. But
Shout
like,
out Derry.
Yeah, right. I think they're like on the same fucking label as what is it, Billie Eilish or whatever her name is or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. They got a bunch of people on here, but I met one of the lead guys, the producers. Like they make the beats and shit all like that. They're kind of like the chain smokers, but cooler, I guess.
Got it.
Like it's
But cooler.
but cooler. Like these guys are super chill. They dress. I'm kidding you. I'm not kidding you. They their whole shtick is like Big Lebowski, so they wear.
Nice.
That's awesome.
Big cardigans.
The big like it's a bathrobe, white bathrobe with big glasses, and they fucking their whole thing like the song I'm doing for them is called French Toast. And basically, like, they just always have mimosas and fucking French toast, and French toast is like code for drugs, I guess. So they're super chill, dude. These guys are like they're awesome. But to answer your question, like, it's wildly different, man. Like, it is wildly different in the fact that one, the turnaround time is so much quicker, but you're still putting the same amount to like convey a story in 2 minutes or 3 minutes and have these aesthetics and like. Here's the reason why I left, because I was working with MTV, I was working with VH1. I left that scene, and now I'm coming back into it. Like I'm gonna get re-repped and jump back in, because my mentality is more mature now. Like I understand how the game is played. Then I was definitely too green for it. Like I took everything so personally to a point where it was like you walk in, you see these artists, and they're like you plan everything, right? And then you walk in, they're like, I don't know. Yeah. I think I just don't want any of this. And like, let's get a fucking unicorn and I'll ride on that. And like, I walked off a fucking set last year. Yeah, last year, the day of the video. Were you producing this one?
I don't think so.
Okay. I won't say who it is, but she's big. She's really big.
You've never walked off one of my sets.
Yeah, no, she's really fucking big. And she literally wanted to light a Bugatti on fire and drive it.
I remember you telling me that.
Wanted to drive it off the fucking cliffs in Malibu and had the balls.
And what was the budget?
Dude, no budget. Not for that anyways. No budget. I was bringing fucking everything to this thing. Had the balls to literally fucking scream at me in front of my entire crew. And I told her, I was like, with all due respect, if you talk to me one more time like that, you're gonna be fucking shooting this thing with your iPhone because I'm out. Like, and I'm taking everybody with me. And it was like, it was so ridiculous because we had such a fucking amazing concept, everything's set to go, and we're not even talking about a Honda Civic here. We're talking about a Bugatti.
Yeah,
she thinks
no, for sure.
On fire off the cliff. So I was like, it's impossible, number one. Number two, she was like, well, can't we just get like a Honda Civic? And like, isn't there a car wrap that we could wrap the Civic in that looks like a Bugatti and then light that on fire? And I'm like, even if there was, whatever the fuck is going on up here is so concerning because a Honda Civic wrapped like a Bugatti, but you're still just wanting to drive a car in the middle of Malibu just off a fucking cliff.
Yeah.
With no, what?
No
like
permits.
yeah, like where in Malibu? Yeah,
Well,
like
you know,
just
classic Skitbags production teams, they just go out and rent the car and get the insurance on it.
Yeah.
We get that fucking shot done, and we drive that bitch off a cliff. We were driving, the car just rolled off
just
the
fucking
hill.
rolled up.
Hey, well, here's your $15 for the day.
I should have called you guys because I lost it. And she went in on me again, and I was like, you know what, fuck it. Like I'm
just
done.
dipped?
I just dipped. Yeah, dude, I literally like, how do you even respond? Oh, I'm sorry, because she also took half of my pay. She took it and she was gonna put it towards the Bugatti. So she's like, well, then we're just gonna cut that, and you're not gonna get paid for editing. And I'm like, oh, I'm not gonna be here, so it doesn't really fucking matter. So I do. And so yeah, it was just I left that world because I wanted to be back in control. I wanted to do stuff that I cared about and not get shit on every 2 seconds. But again, go back to your question, like the difference is things move so much quicker. It's so much quicker. It's so much more intense. There's just so much more. Like you're dealing with an artist who obviously has a vision. Like the only way I'll do it now is if the artist trusts me to bring something for them. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like you gotta like my style. You gotta dig my shit. Like if you like it, I will bring you fucking.
that's the hard thing for some artists, man, is to give up creative control, you know? And I tell people, like, for me, when I equate art and when I hire somebody to do a job, it's like I come at it like a producer or even like somebody getting a tattoo.
Yeah.
When I get my tattoos is a good metaphor because like the half sleeve that I got, my artist, he was doing a different tattoo on me and I saw his paintings in his booth and was like, that's dope. I like your style. I want you to just do my half sleeve. And I was like, I want this concept, that concept, and then you do it. I was like, I trust your judgment. You make it up. You draw it. You go to town. I'm gonna like let you do your job that you're an expert in.
You're not gonna be like in the middle, like, hold on.
No,
give me
exactly,
this pen. Like,
exactly. So I think that's where you come from the best. Like he did all my shit by just drawing freehand with a Sharpie marker on my arm, and then it like came out looking like awesome. I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah.
So obviously, it's hard for like a singer because they are still the artist. They have
and
that
I get that. I get
control.
that,
So like,
sure.
but music videos are the only time where you get that like conflict. You don't get it on features because you're the director. You're the tip of the spear. You know, you're the head of the chain, so to speak, at least on set and for vision.
Unless you got Thomas producing and then he's down your throat.
Well, I mean, every project's structured a little different, obviously, you know, whether you're just directing or whether you're writing, producing, and directing or, you know, all that shit. But
yeah, it was, you know, and that's the thing. And like now I'm just very upfront about it. Like when I talked to Floyd Wonder, I was like, you know what, like I'll do this for you guys, but like this is how I see it. And they're like, we fucking love this, and that's it. And I get it, man. Like I understand because like I'm the same way with my writing and my directing. Like it's my way or the highway. Like I love collabing, don't get me wrong. Like I will collab all day, but eventually like at some point it's like this is my vision. If the artist, you know, like, and I've proven this, like I'm not being cocky in that sense. Like I've proven with my art over the years that I have a certain kind of style, I have a certain kind of way. If you don't like it, then like that's fine. There's a million other, you know, directors in the world. It's just like for me to be able to operate and work the way that I want to work, that's kind of how it is. And so, you know, the process is it's just a lot more intense, but I love that. I love collabing. I love when you do have that freedom, man, it's fucking magic because you really get to have this like visceral experience and the shit's done a lot quicker, and you can try stuff. That's my number one. You can try shit. Like you can try crazy camera angles. You can try stuff. If it doesn't work, no one really cares
because it's a music video, so it's supposed to be like artistic anyways.
Yeah.
Like, whatever.
You're doing it on a feature and it doesn't work. You're like, oh, fuck.
Well, that's kind of like another question I had because the pacing is faster on a music video. So does that give you a little bit more run and gun, free, off the cuff improvisational feel, or is it have to be more regimented because it's so quick pace? Like when you're doing shots, like do you have time to play more in a feature versus time to play and have fun and improvise and do kind of like creative off book? Not necessarily the shot angles, but just like in the moment, like, oh, what about this? You know, because I feel like in a feature, you know, you have that more time. You have a lot of time, but then again, everything's on schedule. You know, you have a schedule, you got a budget, you know, all that shit. But I don't know. I'm just curious as to like that music video experience.
That's a good question. It's a really good question actually, because it's weird. Yes and no. There's two sides to it, because sometimes you can just go in there and fucking shoot off the cusp, and you can kind of like do whatever you want to do, and try shit. It just depends on how you're looking, how the video is gonna go. Like this video I'm doing right now is very, very scripted. Like there's a story to it. And I'm like shitting bricks over it because it's like an 8-hour shoot. So you're like, you only have 8 hours and I have 7 scenes. So that's almost a scene an hour, which is like I'm already fucked before going into it. And like one of the actors we have, Santuan McCrae, who does like all the choreography for Black Eyed Peas and all that. He's on board with this. He's bringing like everybody. He's like got all the You Got Served dance team and all this shit.
Nice.
Shout out Santuan McCrae.
Shout out Santuan.
Yeah. He's amazing, and he's just like, you know, we were talking about it, and like he's also Kevin Hart's body double, which is dope.
Oh really?
Yeah,
that's hilarious.
He's like a stand-up comedian, so he's good at improvisation, and I want him just to fucking like run with like the opening of this video, right? Like do all this shit. Like I wrote it the other day, because even music videos I write in script form. The fucking thing's like 8 pages. I'm like, how
8-minute video like Michael Jackson and shit.
Just a bunch of action lines and scene changes.
Basically that's what it is. And so I'm like, but to go back to your question, it's like when I started this, and the problem is I always end up going too far. Like I always want to try to make it as best as humanly possible. When we started it, it was like, oh, we're just gonna go in and try some stuff, and that's great. That's fun. I love those music videos. This got out of control really quickly. This is like we have Instagram models and fucking like dance routines and like all this crazy shit going down. And so the question is, exactly like you asked it, do I try it? And I think I've figured it out. Like you just got to be more conscious of your camera shot. So instead of doing a wide, medium, close-up type of thing and like these interactions between him and the characters, I'm literally starting on him like on a movie crane, and basically going from him talking to 360 around the room to the Instagram models that he's yelling at, back around to him. Boom, we got it. Like that's 3 pages right there. We run it 3 times, whatever I get, and we got to move on, because doing this and then resetting and doing this and then resetting and doing this,
a lot of time.
That's my entire day. So you got to get creative with it, and that's basically it. It just depends on the situation. You know, sometimes you have music videos where you can literally just fucking go in there and like do whatever you want and kind of try shit, and then other ones, if they are scripted out like this, you have to have like
it depends on the time too, because because the majority of musical acts in LA, I feel like most of the time their budget is only for one day.
No, it is.
So then you got to do everything in one day.
That's a good point. Yeah, if you're, I know like the Neon Hits music video I did was a multi-day shoot. So if you have a couple of days, you're chill. You're like, you know, you're hanging out. Like
you can do multiple locations.
You get a massage on, you know, lunch, and you're doing this, and you're hanging out. But like, you have one day. Like, that's a good point that Thomas said. Is like 99. I would say almost all music videos nowadays are like one day.
And one like super
day.
Long day usually.
One super long day. And so basically like, you know, I exited that world, and I was done. You know, again, kind of defeated. And I was like, you know, I don't really know what I'm doing. It just, everything that I do, it kind of ends in flames. And that was when I was having dinner with my lawyer at the time. Shout out Rob. Rob. You do like it's Rob. Like the thing. And I was having dinner with him, and you know, we were drinking. I had a couple beers. I think I had 2, which put me under because I'm a lightweight. But you know, I'm sitting there, and I told him I had this idea for this fucking movie about these 2 characters, that this husband and wife, and they lose their daughter, and they don't know where she is, and like it's a child abduction, And then, the mom goes insane, tries to kill herself. She gets put in a mental institution. She comes out, and they relocate. His whole thing is he studies shortwave radios. And so he works for this company called Marconi that studies like basically where these signals are coming from and like all of this stuff, different stuff. And so they move to this research facility that the company provides them out in the middle of the woods. Great idea, obviously. And then while they're out there, he's working on his work. Because the company's like, you guys should be alone, spend time together. And while they're out there, she starts messing with a couple of his radios. He's got a whole lab set up in the basement, and she starts hearing the daughter over the radio. And then the more and more she messes with the radio,
Is this like that Dennis Quaid movie?
Everyone always asks that. This is the sequel to the Dennis Quaid movie. People for the longest time were like, because it came out the same time as Stranger Things, so everybody was like, "Oh,
really?"
They're like, "Did you do Stranger Things too?" And I was like, "Yeah, actually, I did."
I did.
That was me.
That's all me.
And it was, and so basically, she starts blacking out and going somewhere. Like she has these visions where she's like, like in these fields or in these lakes, and like she always sees the daughter, but there's always this like 8-foot tall figure next to her holding her hand. And then basically one night she wakes up, and she always wakes up and she's fine, and she starts telling her husband. Obviously people think she's crazy. And then she wakes up one night and this fucking thing is outside her window, like looking back at her, and she kind of realizes like, oh shit, this is like the real deal. And that's shortwave. So I told him it, and he was like, fucking loved it, blah, blah, blah. He's like, send me the script on Monday if it's as good as you just pitched it. He's like,
by the way, that pitch is way better than the Dennis Quaid movie.
Yeah. This is way bloodier than I appreciate it. So I was talking to my ex-girlfriend at the time, and I was like, what the fuck do I do? Like, because she was sitting there, and I was like, there's no script for this thing. There's nothing.
That's classic.
This is a drunk Ryan, like, and like, he's like, all right, send me the script on Monday. I'm like,
yeah.
I gotta go write
and
it.
so like I told her, I was like, what the fuck do I do? She's like, what do you mean? What the fuck do you do? Write this movie. And I'm like, and that's the weird thing is like I had, up to this point, everything I'd written, nobody wanted to make. And this was the first time. This is when I found my voice, which is interesting. And going back to what you were saying about like people in Iowa and like advice and shit, like, dude, just don't listen to anybody. Like, do it your way. Yeah. Do it the way that you're comfortable. Because up to this point, everybody had told me, oh, well, if you're going to write a script, you got to do it like this, and you got to have these boards, and you got to have these boards. And like, I was like, I didn't have time to do that shit. I literally just fucking went in and just like I knew I'd had this story inside of me for like 7 months, like 8 months. Like it felt like, now I know when it's ready. Like it feels like something's like, feels like gas in your gut. Like you like want to get it out. And I fucking threw up. I was just like on the page. I was like, everything just came out.
Poured it out.
Just poured it out. And I remember I was killing main characters in like the first 15 minutes. And,
nice.
And I was like, so-and-so just died. She's like, are you sure? I'm like, takes knife to forearm and cut. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's dead. And she's like, okay, cool. And yeah, man, I sent it to him. And this is the person that had read everything that I've always done, didn't like it. This one though, he was like, this is fucking great. Like basically like, here's a blank check, go make the movie.
Yeah.
And that's how the whole thing started. Like Thomas was one of the producers on it. Fucking killed it.
Yeah.
Solved a lot of issues. And it was basically the producers of The Invitation, one of my friends, Tony, he had executive produced that. He read it, also very harsh critic of mine, shout out to Tony. But he read it too, and he was like, he's always like, your shit sucks. I'm like, fuck you, man. No, but he
gotta keep you grounded, bro.
I'm glad when people say that, because like then after like 9 other scripts and you get this one, they're like, this is amazing. You're like, oh shit, this must be fucking good, right? So he got the invitations. He got the producers from The Invitation as well to come on board, and we got Jay Ellis. We got Cristobal Tapio Mond, Juanita Ringling. I wanted it to feel very Ex Machina, so I wanted it to feel very foreign. Like I didn't want to do a classic American horror. Like we went for the biggest names we could get internationally and kind of give it that mature type of feel. And so yeah, man, we fucking made that movie, and like I don't know what, we got funded in June and we were shooting in September.
That's
like
accurate.
that. Yeah, we did that, and then started the festival thing, and it just took off, man. Like we premiered at the Chinese Theater for Dances with Films, which was like, that was the only thing I've ever wanted in my life, was to see my movie
That's
at the
pretty
Chinese
cool.
Theater.
Theater,
Like
right?
that's it, man. Like
Yeah,
I was
that-
like, I'm good. Like
that's
cross it
I
off
made
of-
I made it.
Done.
I'm finally. This is
Yeah.
what I came here for. This moment. Yeah.
And so we premiered there, and then over 6 months we did 23 festivals, winning 18 of them. We won everything from Best Actress to producing to Best Picture to I got 2 Best Directors. We won Best Independent Horror Film of the Year. And then we went to Sitges, which is like the biggest genre festival in the world for that sort of stuff. And yeah, man, it just we had a sold out showing there. Rain Dance was the same thing. We ended up getting amazing press coverage, and then Sony and Vega Baby came in and picked it up, and that was our distribution. So that was
That's
the
awesome.
one. That was the one that we were looking for.
It's so crazy how it's always just like unexpected and quick and
Yeah.
like from left field that
Well,
those things happen.
And it was crazy too, because like we were talking about my publicist before we started, and like he was the one that was like, we got to do this, like he's amazing. And when we went overseas for Sitges, the films over there are so much different, because like they don't give a shit about the actors. In America, it's all about the actors. In Sitges, it's all about the producers and directors, like
The creators
the
of the
creators of the film they fucking love. And I was going through a weird time at the time. I was the fat kid. I was the chunky boy with the big beard and the long hair. And I remember we got out of this car when we were at Sitges, and they give you your own publicist and translator when you're there, because like I don't.
you can't do it.
Yeah, I'm like, I have no idea what people are saying.
I'm a dumb American.
Yeah, and we got out, and there was all these like bodegas, and literally there was shortwave posters that had been bootlegged. They were
That's
putting
awesome.
on tin like everywhere, and I was like, what the fuck? Like this is crazy. Like this is insane. I'm pissed because we're not getting any of this money, but this is cool. This is cool. And when we showed up to the hotel, there was just lines and lines of people. They're standing, and you're walking through these gates, and I just got like I was with Juanita, and everywhere we go with Juanita, especially here, she gets fucking swarmed. Like it's always like, they're always going after. And I saw the people coming, but I was like, oh shit, here we go again. Like, I start going to the left, and then I realized that they were like moving towards me. And I was like, what the fuck is going on? Now, when I say I have a big beard, I'm talking like this thing's like gigantic.
Down to
like
belly button.
Yeah. And so I I freaked out because they weren't going for Juanita. They wanted me to sign their movie poster. They had seen the film, and I was like, what the fuck? I've never signed an autograph in my life.
Right.
And now there's 200 people that are literally like, and you're like, what the fuck? And like, I remember the publicist was like, oh, they want you to write a quote. Because I was like, what are they saying? And they're like, they want a quote. And I was like, keep on keeping on. And she was like, she got so mad because she was like, no. She's like, from the movie. I was like, oh. And I'm like thinking, and I just put like yelling and screaming like and all this stuff.
Lots of exclamation marks.
Like, oh, you're dead. And
That's
so.
awesome.
But yeah, and I got nominated there for Best New Wave Artist, and we came back, and now I've got 2 films right now that I'm working on with Steven Susko. So this was the craziest thing, because Thomas and I were working together at this time, and I thought he was fucking with me because I kept getting these emails from Steven Susko, who's always been my idol. He did The Grudge 2, Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
I think I made a fake email to email you.
I thought you. Well, yeah, because we always are fucking with each other. Like I locked him outside of the house one day.
That is not out of the realm of possibility.
No,
I feel
not
like.
at all. Well, also because I can't tell you what I almost said the email. I can't tell you what his email is, but when you see it, you're like,
That's the best you could come up with.
I'm like, what the fuck is this email? Like it looked so suspicious, and so he was like, hey, it's Steven. I saw your movie. I think it was at Seattle or something like that, and he was like, because he lives up there, and he was like, I'm coming down to LA. I'd love to meet with you. I'd love to talk to you about some stuff. And I'm like, delete. Fuck you, Thomas.
That's hilarious.
And it happened again. And still, so at this point, I thought it was like somebody else, and then I deleted that one. And I think we talked or something. I asked you about it, and you were like, "It's not me." Like I asked everybody. I thought it was Tony. I thought it was all these people. It wasn't them. And then the third time, I finally realized that it was him. And
did you explain that story?
Yeah, no, I told him. Like he basically had to like send a picture of himself to like prove it to me. Like I'm Steven.
Today's newspaper.
You can never be too careful these days.
You can't.
Right?
Big problem.
So I was like, he showed up at my house. I fanboyed the fuck out. I was like, "Ugh," and we talked. We had some beers, and he just was like, "Oh, like, what are you working on now?" And I was like, "Funny you should ask." And I pulled the script from underneath the table. It was called Copperhead Road, and I literally I was like, "I'll wait." And he fucking read this thing, and like we sat there, and he's like, "I love it." He's like, "It's great. Like, what do you need? Like, I want to be part of it, but what do you need?" I was like, "Fucking rewrite this shit, dude." like put your voice in it. So he did. And yeah, so we got that one. It's called Copperhead Road, and it's a really violent, kind of like Drive. It's basically these two. It's very relevant in our culture, and it's just really, it's never been done before. It's kind of got this. Everybody says that, right? This has never been done before. But it's these two homosexual 18-year-old men that are in this small rural town, and one's white, one's black, and the white kid's father is the chief of police, and he finds out that his son's gay, and him and the police force show up and brutally murder his son and his lover, and they get rid of the bodies. And you find out that they actually don't die, that this local vet finds their bodies down by the river. And the black kid's severely wounded. He's not mentally all there. And so they're trying to get him medical attention, but it's a fucking vet. Like how much can he actually do? And so they're going to get them across the Canadian border for medical attention, but they need to smuggle them across. And so they need money. And so they come up with this idea that they're going to do these bank heists in order to get the money to get them across. And they start this, and then basically the first place he's robbing, he pulls the alarms, and you realize that it's like,
Don't give it all away.
I'm not. There's a lot more.
Spoiler alert.
He pulls the alarm. Thanks. Where's the publicist?
It's like,
the
hey,
publicist. The publicist is looking. He's like, fucking no.
Cut.
No, he pulls the alarms, and like you realize that it's not just about the money. Like he wants this revenge.
Yeah.
So
Sure.
man, it's fucking.
It's like Romeo and Juliet with the man in the iron mask with the Underground Railroad because you gotta sneak some people. Then a little Ocean's 12.
There you go.
You know what I mean?
He's got it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have you pitch it from now on.
Yeah, for real, Carl.
There it is.
That's the lethal mix.
Yeah. And so we ended up, that was like a top 10 script in the Beverly Hills screenplay competition. And we've just been trying to find the right the right production company to really let us do what we want, because it's such a sensitive topic.
Because you got the LGBTQ thing, you got that. It's all fired up right now. Then you got
police.
You got the police.
Yeah.
You got the medical issues and stuff and whatnot.
And those Canadians, man, they're gonna get pretty riled that you're sneaking across their border.
Nah, dude.
for their good free health care. For that good free health care.
And it was important to me too, especially with the LGBT, is with that community, is like before I even went anywhere with this, like a lot of my close friends in the community, I had them read this. It's also based on a true story that happened in my hometown, something like this. So I know the cops and stuff that this sort of thing had happened to, so I visited them. So like I'm juggling two very, very tender worlds here, which I know.
I know the feeling.
Yeah, it's fucking, it's scary, but Steve and I made sure to really be careful with it, and that's just what we're trying to solve right now. Is like we've had a couple of people that are like, hey, like we want to fund this thing, and we're like, cool, and then you start getting in creative meetings and like, but we need to change this, and I'm like,
all right.
I think
you want to fund a different thing.
Yeah. I was like, I got other movies that are just straight horror. Let's do those ones instead. Which is true. Him and I have a couple other films that we're doing as well, but this one is very, like I said, we need to find that right partner that is going to support us in our creative endeavors in that way. That's not just going to be like, okay, but we get final cut. And then this fucking movie turns around and you're like, this isn't
That's what I wrote.
this is not what we wrote.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
Well,
that's a shame.
No, that's cool. It's kind of like brings to fruition like what you started with when you wanted to be into the psychiatry field. You wanted to affect and help people. And that movie sounds like it has almost a cultural significance to it. You know, there's different than just, okay, boilerplate, cut the heads off, throw them in the thing. There's actually the color aspect, the LGBTQ aspect. There's border discussions going on there. There's medical discussions. You know what I mean? There's is it right or wrong to rob a bank to do it in this particular situation? You know what I mean?
The
Like
morality of it.
Yeah. It's like it's got a lot going on in it.
No,
It's pretty cool.
It's true, and like I said, this for me is and it's drama. It's not horror. It's different than anything I've ever done. You know, like it's one of those things that we've been fine just meeting with all these people until we find the right person, and like that's the shittiest part, because you guys know, like, making movies in Hollywood, like when somebody's got money, they're like I want to make this movie, like fuck yeah, but then to actually have to turn around and be like, I don't think we can make this movie with you. It's like, oh, like, you know, because like it's right there, man.
Yeah,
like it's right there.
It's like kicking a naked girl out of your bed.
Yeah,
you know
and
what I mean?
obviously, you know, Susko's name helps a fucking ton because everybody wants to be in business with him.
And for anybody who doesn't know, Steven Susko helped write The Grudge
He wrote The Grudge.
for the American audience, the American version.
Yeah,
right.
yeah, correct.
There was a Japanese version.
There was a
before that, right?
Japanese
Right.
version, and then he did the American. He did the second one of that, and then he did the new
Right.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Right.
And then
Right.
last year he did Unfriended.
Oh, yeah, that's
Dark
true.
Web. He
He directed that,
He
didn't
directed
he?
Dark Web. Yeah. I was trying to get him to co-direct this with me, but he won't do it. He's like, nah, man. He's like, we can't have two in the same aspect. Like, I respect that. He's like.
Yeah.
He's like, if I'm in there with you, I'm gonna fuck this up. He goes, it's your vision. He's
Yeah.
like, and I was like,
Two directors is normally a red flag from a production
The
standpoint.
only time it works is with their siblings.
Yeah. Or,
You know-
or like married.
Same difference, you know.
Yeah.
But like spending all the time always together anyway.
Yeah, there's
you know?
going to be too many cooks in the kitchen most of the time in that situation.
I respect that. And the thing too is, like, we have this other film that we just got funded, which I don't even know what the name is now because we've changed it so many times. It was called Uncommitted. Now it's called Control. I don't know. We keep changing it. But we're working with Fabio Gallenbeck, who did Experimenter, that movie with Peter Sarsgaard.
Oh, yeah.
And they just had his premiere last night for Saving Flora, the fucking movie about the elephant, where David Arquette's saving elephants.
Didn't know about this one.
Oh,
Mark.
yeah, dude, look it up, look it
Wow.
up. Fucking
That one really snuck past
Saving
us.
Flora. plug, Fabio. You know me after that
And it's
one.
David Arquette.
David Arquette saving baby elephants, man.
That's awesome.
But okay, so imagine this though. You have this producer, right, Fabio? Like, bless his heart. You know, and he's done like 30 movies at this point. Like, he's been in the business 25 years. He meets me. He'd seen Shortwave at Toronto, and called me, got a hold of me, and was like, "Hey, I want to work with you." And so he had this script, and he wanted it. He was like, "Oh, I read it." I was like, "It's cool, but I've got a completely different version. Like, I want to rewrite the whole thing." So I did, and I got Susko on this one as well. And so we, like, imagine this fucking poor bastard, right? He's doing movies about saving baby elephants, right? and I'm over here doing this film that is literally about, I'm trying to figure out how to even say it, because there's so many twists to it without fucking it up.
What is it, like killing baby elephants or something?
No. Again, this is like the turn to Richard moment, and look, and he's like, don't fucking say anything. It's about this girl who, her stepfather brutally murders her mother. And every night she's woken up before her mother's killed, the stepfather's always sitting in the corner of the room with this mask thing that they've made together, and he just looks at her. And every night she can't move. She looks at the corner of the bed, and she sees like a vial with a needle. And he's always whispering to her, he's like, "Don't worry, little bird, everything's gonna be okay." And so then after the murder of her mother, she goes to orphanage, meets this therapist named Lewis, and Lewis starts helping her work through her trauma. And then as soon as she turns 18, he's like 50, he asks to marry her. And so they get married, and, you know, they live this great life together. And then one night, her friend from the orphanage, Emily, shows up, and they end up hooking up. and you start to realize that maybe there's more to the story than you thought.
So it's kind of like a Stockholm syndrome situation.
Look at this guy over here.
Little brainwashing by the therapist.
Yeah. So
To catch a predator,
Yeah.
the guy succeeded.
Well, basically,
Yeah.
basically, she goes back to her husband Lewis, and she's like, I hooked up with this other girl, and I'm really confused, and blah 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 blah, and I just need some time. So she leaves him, and she's staying at this hotel, and then she gets a knock on the door one night. She looks through the peephole, and outside the peephole is her stepfather
with the mask. That's crazy.
And so that's all I can tell you because it
And
gets
it pops off from there.
It gets fucked up. So now you got this poor bastard who's making a movie about saving elephants, and I'm like, yo, this is what we're making, and he's like, what? Like I can see it in his eyes. He's like, what the fuck have I done? I was like, I told him, I was like, if you take me out of my box, like,
Yeah, man. For the first half of that story, I thought you were talking about the elephant movie. To be honest,
I haven't seen the elephant. David Arquette plays the elephant.
Operation Double Jump 2.
Yeah. No, I think
they did make a second Dumbo drop. They had.
Really?
You ever seen Dumbo drop?
Yeah. I think I don't know, man. It's fucking crazy. So those are the two features I'm working on right now. And then I just recently life is fucking weird, man. Apparently I'm the creative director now, the chief creative officer of this company called Mobot.
The CCO?
The CCO? Is that what it was called?
Yeah, chief creative officer.
Chief creative officer of this company, and I didn't bring it. I fucking didn't know there was gonna be video, so I apologize, Mark. Mark is the guy that runs the company.
It's all right. We'll throw some promo stuff on the screen.
Yeah. It's super dope, man. It's this giant water bottle, and it's a foam roller. And so basically you can like roll, like those foam rollers that you roll your back out.
Yeah.
Dude,
Like
these
your
things-
muscle, like your legs and stuff.
Yeah, and it's incredible because like, dude, every time I go, like I never did foam rolling until I got this thing, and it's helped me so much. Like I do it like just when I'm bored, like in the middle of the afternoon, I'll just like roll out on it or like.
So it's a water bottle.
Yeah.
And it has foam around. It's like this thing with foam around it.
With foam around it, but it's indented different foam, so it's like pressure points. So when you roll over, it like gets into your muscles and like it really.
What's it called?
Mobot. Mobot.com.
Why is it called Mobot?
Mobile bottle.
There's your CCO.
There's like half of me wants to believe you, and then half of me knows you're full of shit.
Half of me wants to believe me too. The other half's not really sure, but we're gonna go for it.
That's a pretty good gig.
I think yeah. So they call me up. They're like, hey man, we love your stuff on Instagram. We love the tones and stuff you use. We would love. For you
But
to-
you knew these guys before. It's not like they.
I knew
you on Instagram.
Well, I knew Mark.
Right.
So Mark and I went to college. Mark was never part of the company. Mark hit them up and was like, he works for Bank of America. And he was like, oh, like I want to be part of this. Like I want to help you guys out. And like, I don't know, man. The next time I talk to the kid, he's like CEO of the company. I'm like,
Wow.
What have you been up to for 7 months? He's just like, he's kicking ass and taking names. He's, so he's running it. And so like, I thought we were directing a commercial. And then he's like, I want you to be the chief creative officer. And I'm like, do I gotta stop doing movies? He's like, nah, dude, just leave someone in charge. And I'm like, Thomas, what are you doing?
Right.
We'll just put Thomas in there, be good to go.
Sure.
And so yeah, I'm helping them with like their branding and all this stuff. But it's a completely different environment, and I'm getting used to it. Like I love it. One, like I always like try to dress properly and not like a hipster. Like I wear like some sort of suit attire to do this stuff.
Never the whole thing.
Never the whole thing. Like
Just
the pants
parts
and
of
like
the-
a
parts
dress
of the
shirt.
suit.
Yeah, just parts of the suit. Like the tops, not the bottoms.
Never two-piece together. Heaven forbid 3.
I know. Hey, this is LA.
I wore suspenders the other day. That was pretty dope.
There you go.
Wow.
But
It's very Williamsburg of you.
yeah, thanks.
Very.
I go from
South Carolina.
hipster to ultra hipster. Basically. Fucking going in there smoking American spirits. Like,
What a question about your background in psychology and how that affects directing and writing now. But before I ask a broad question about that, have you ever heard of Edward Bernays?
sounds very familiar.
He's the guy who wrote the book called Propaganda in 1911.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, the only reason I bring it up is I've talked about him on the show before, and that book is being like a template for modern day corporate advertising.
Yes.
As like how to manipulate large groups of people through media and, print or whatever. The whole cigarette campaign with the women's rights movement was started by him. And anyways, all this shit. So I think it's unique to have that kind of background because that psychology was a big interest of mine in college as well. I never wanted to like get a doctorate in it, so I didn't pursue it that much. But there are definitely like lessons in the textbooks that I've been able to take and apply to writing or apply to like dealing with actors on set and like dealing with people in the moment. So like how much of that background and what points, like what are some of those tools that helped you in the film career that you probably learned in the psychologist background? Are there any? Or like,
or in branded content in general. Because in some situations, well, in all branded content situations, you have to deal with that creative who, it's not like a music video where you're the creative vision. You have to incorporate the brand's creative decision.
Yeah.
So
that's
so
just
you have to work with him and like kind of get what you want, but also make sure they're getting what they want. And now in the CCO situation, you don't have to do that.
Yeah.
So like going back to what he said, like how does that affect like your psychology background? Do you ever incorporate things that you learned via the propaganda book?
Coming in with tough questions.
Right.
It wasn't my question, it was his question.
Zingers, man. Fuck.
What's your favorite color?
Smoke breaks. No,
Right.
phone a friend. That's a great question. It is going off just what you said 2 seconds ago with the CCO thing. It's like it's very. I've realized with this already that it's, even though I'm in charge of it, it's still a brand that they've already established and there's still already a look. So the psychology of that is kind of learning that no matter what, like it's still going to be my style and it's going to be what I like, the way I think it should be, but you have to also meet in the middle because it's never going to be like, I didn't make the model. I didn't come up with the model. Like I'm part of the company, but this is a like you really like, and that shit's fucking tough for me.
Did they give you one of those like brand Bibles? You know how sometimes they have a Bible to say, our logo has to be used this way, etc. type of thing?
They passed it on, and then I threw it in
Burned
the
it?
trash. To be completely honest,
Let's start from scratch.
I was like, have you guys seen Helmut Newton's photography? And they're like, who's that? And I was like, all right, don't be alarmed. There's a lot of nudity. We're not going to do the nudity, but all these weird legs and shit, that's what we're doing. No, but that's an interesting aspect of it that I think for me, I always, my motto's always been like, if you're not uncomfortable, then you're not learning, you're not growing. So the moment you're comfortable, you need to get uncomfortable again because there's no fucking point in it. Like you need to continuously strive to, like, I don't give a shit if you've been in this industry or any industry or whatever you're doing. Like you will never know everything about everything. You can be the best in the world and you will not know it. And the moment that you think you do or you say you do, you're fucked. So get rid of that mentality to begin with. So that for me is like, I'm definitely learning and growing. The psychology aspect of it. And I think this, honestly, like when I moved here, there was 14 of us. I'm the last one that's left. Everybody else is packed up and they've gone home. And like everybody that always asks me like I'll get DMs and they'll be like, hey, I want to be a director. Hey, I want to be a producer, actor. Like, can you give me advice? And I'm like, don't. I'm like, don't do it. Don't become an actor. Don't become a director. Don't do this. Because the fact is, like, me telling you what to do is not going to help you at all. If you really want to fucking do this, you're not going to listen to me. You're not going to listen to you. You're not going to listen to him. You're going to be like, fuck that guy. I'm going to go do it. Because for me, when I came to the city, I've never had a backup plan. Not once. I never had something to fall back on. I loved psychology, but obviously that wasn't the thing. Everybody else that I came here with had another degree in banking or business or this. And so when shit got fucking tough or they got kicked down or they lost a movie deal or something, they would just fall back on that. And now they, which is, it's fine. They all went and did their things and they have families and kids and great, like it's everybody's different. I didn't have that. I didn't have an option. So when shit gets fucked up, you pick yourself up and you keep moving forward.
That's a congruent line that I've heard from a lot of successful people in the entertainment industry is not having a safety net.
Yeah, you can't.
And not having fucking Tarantino swears by it. He just said that too. But I mean, not only that, like, I think Burt Kreischer said that when we were interviewing him at Clusterfest. So like comedians and like, there's a bunch of people that are like, look, man, if you have that safety net, you're just naturally not going to be as worried and frantic to make it work.
Yeah,
Like
not quite as aggressive.
not aggressive, not as struggle city, not as
Yeah.
like, oh my God, I'm not gonna be able to live if I don't do this.
Yep.
Because you have that comfort, like you said, the comfortability. It makes you stagnant. You know, get a little loose. You know, maybe I'll do it tomorrow instead of doing it today, or you know, I'll eat some fucking chips and smoke a blunt and watch a movie instead of doing the work.
It is a Sunday, you know.
You know, but what I tell people is like, especially in this industry, this is true of every industry, but out here, I mean, with acting alone, I agree with you. Don't do it. Like, you got 500,000 registered SAG actors, just registered,
Quite
and
a
then
few.
not
What,
even
less than 1% are working.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
Like fucking less than 1%.
And that's like 30% of the town.
So just to like, you know, wrap your head around it.
Odds
you
are
can't-
forever in your favor.
Yeah, right.
No, I mean, dude, you're so fucking right, because like the thing too is like, and this isn't like, oh, feel bad for me or anything like that, but there was a point 2 years ago that Thomas and I were working on something, and you know, it was a couple $1 million film, and it like the day of filming, I'm trying to think what I can say here. We lost the movie. Not because of us, but because of the investors, and everything was fucking gone. Like everything. Like 2 years that we had spent on this thing, we fucking lost it all.
Damn.
Like we were on set, right? Like we were making this thing.
Yeah.
I happened to have my name on as a producer in some aspect of the way. So you can guess who was left holding the bag for that. And like I was done. Like again, shout out to Rob. My lawyer had to fucking clear my name from like all of those agencies, WME,
Right, because you didn't do anything.
I didn't do anything, but the actors, the agency, they all fucking thought I knew about
Okay, so they were blowing up your phone,
Of course,
thinking you're the
I
guy who
had the
who
fucking
had the bag in his hand.
what are the Teamsters showing literally
Oh,
up at my
man.
house,
The union.
the union trying to break my fucking kneecaps. Like those truck drivers do not.
No,
fucking-
they don't. The drivers are the toughest
The
ones.
drivers are there looking for hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Those
in
are
payment.
straight up
and
Teamsters.
I'm like, I'm fucked, dude. Like, I'm
That's
fucked.
like Chicago style unions.
yeah, no, it really is. Like,
Hello, we'd like to speak to Mr. Phillips.
I'm like, who is it? I can't even order fucking Domino's pizza, man, because I'm like, fuck. That was the real reason I became vegan. No, no more pizza. So the base of the story is I had a complete mental breakdown. I lost my shit. I lost all my hair. All my hair fell out of my fucking
Dude, that's
head.
happened to me
Everything.
3 times. I'm
Fucking
so
crazy.
glad you say that.
Yeah,
This is the
stress.
first time I've had hair in a year.
Fuck yeah.
Like
That's
we're-
looking good. It's
It
looking
just
good.
like it falls.
up.
Alopecia. So it's
Yeah.
like spots, but like this whole thing. So I go like
Yeah.
I have hair for a couple months and I shave my head for the rest of the year.
Yeah, it literally. I was having a breakdown. I was in the shower, and I just remember it like it all.
It's so crazy.
It all
Yeah.
came out.
The
and then-
stress levels,
and-
they
yeah.
just push you
Just
down
all
your head.
stress.
Well, and then I got out, and I got a scar up here because I just got out and I couldn't breathe, and I just remember waking up on the bathroom floor and there's fucking
like a
blood
panic
everywhere.
attack.
Passed out.
Panic attack or
And
something.
but that all goes back to the thing of like I'm sitting there the next day and I'm like, my life is over. Like, what do you fucking do? What do you do? There's nothing you can do. Like, this is out of your hands. It's out of your control. I'm fucking crying to everybody.
Go
like,
grab 2 beers.
Right?
Bro, I grabbed a couple more than
I
beers.
know, just
I
kidding,
grabbed a couple
man.
more than beers. But that was the thing. Like, you know, like again, like you said, there's no fallback plan. Like, what am I gonna do? I'm gonna fucking go back to the farm and like,
Yeah, so, like, how do
fucking
you-
farm? Like what the fuck am I gonna do?
How do you recover from that motivationally? Like for the kids out there that like once you do go through that big heavy hit. This just happened with me and one of our other producers, Will, with a project we did. I feel you on this. I agree with everything you're saying. But like it's like how do you come back from that? Like what tools and tricks do you do to yourself to like bounce back, recover, stay motivated? I mean, not having the safety net is a big part of it because it's a necessity for you now versus like a desire.
Yeah.
But I'm just like trying to think for someone else out there who's maybe experiencing this, like what are some of the things they can learn from people who've been through the gauntlet?
And that's where I was tying the psychology thing that you were asking about. Because like the psychology ties into how to work with the actors. You know, like how to work with them, how to create a character outside of who that person is. Like when I meet with my actors, I do like a 21 question thing. Like I want to know 21 questions about you as a person. Because like people are always like, oh, well, the character's different. I don't want to relate it to my life. Great. I shouldn't have to. But if we get in a situation that you're not fucking bringing me what I need. I'm gonna bring up your dead dog when you were fucking 3 years old that got run over. Blah, 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 blah. I'm gonna fuck with you. Like,
Yeah.
and they hate that, but I'll do it if we need to get there. But
Very method.
very method. My whole thing is method. Like I
like that. I agree.
When
I come from
write-
a stage background. So
Yeah. Well, when I write, I also like try to understand what the character is. Like, no joke, I've dressed up in women's clothing before to try to understand what it is like to be a woman. I still don't get it.
you can't.
I'm
know
like
what-
riding in high heels.
Yo,
I'm like,
no joke. You can't know what women are really complaining about when they wear heels until you fucking strap on a pair of heels, bro. That shit is difficult.
Yeah.
My neighbors have literally seen me like twirling around in the fucking living room, like na, and I'm like, I think I look pretty, but like, okay,
I
so
feel
here's
pretty.
Yeah, here's the
so pretty.
Here's the dialogue. You know, but so there's that psychology aspect of it, but then to answer your other question of how do you get out of that, and that was the moment. I just turned 30 2 years ago, yeah. So I just turned 30. All this shit happened, and like you're against a wall, and the only thing at this point, because I was in a bad fucking spot. Like, it was like alcohol, drugs, like anything to like, cause you don't have any.
Yeah,
else to
well,
do.
I've been there.
Yeah, you're just like what do you fucking do? Like, and everybody at some point will, if they haven't, they will get there. And I know the thing for me was reinventing myself. Like, one, getting rid of everybody in my life that was some sort of toxic, that was some sort of like that I just felt like didn't need to be around me. So the first step was I just wrote emails to everybody. And I was like, I can't have you in my life. Like, I'm sorry. Like there
Whoa.
was, except
didn't
for,
even do the ghost.
No,
went
like,
targeted.
Yeah, I just asked a bunch of people, not everybody. I mean,
Change your phone number?
I did not change my phone.
Ooh,
number.
ballsy.
I freaking my
That's
text.
what- that's why
I-
I have 246 texts. Most of it's from that period in time. And it's like, hey, are you
Just
still there?
still
I'm
haven't read 'em.
like, fuck off. Yeah, I don't want to. So it says red. But the other thing is figuring out, you know what. I reinvented myself in a way that I changed my diet. So I at the time everyone's like going vegan and plant-based and like grew up on a dairy farm. All I eat is meat. And I said, fuck it. Might as well try something different. So I changed my diet. I went vegan. Had my first mango. I'd never had mango. I'd never had.
Oh, mangoes are great.
Yeah, dude,
Mangoes
I
are
had,
great.
I had all this stuff. So now I'm starting to feel a little bit better. I'm going through, like, I already feel like shit. Like, let's cut out the alcohol. Let's cut out the drugs. Let's cut out, this and that. So I'd had a therapist for years. Everybody should have a therapist. But I kind of took it a step farther. I started getting into yoga. Meditation was the big one. Meditation changed my fucking life, dude. Like, I love it so much. And it's so effortless, and it's like a muscle. Like, it doesn't happen overnight. There's a book by Dr. Joe Dispenza called Becoming Supernatural that I highly recommend to everybody. It gives you the tools, like, and again, to answer what you're saying, like, you have to look for things to improve yourself. If you're in depression, if you're feeling like shit, everybody's gonna come to you and be like, "Hey, man, I'm here for you," or "Hey," and like, those are great. Yeah. But deep down inside, it doesn't fix.
Doesn't make you feel any better.
It doesn't make you feel any better.
You want to feel like accomplished and overcome. You know.
And that's the thing is, like, unless you're willing and like pick up a book, understand why you're feeling like this. Understand the chemical imbalances that are happening in your brain. Figure out, like, do you need love? Do you need somebody to be there for you? Do you need this? Like, what do you actually need? Because the more you educate yourself on it, the more you can drag yourself out of it. And that was the thing, is I was looking for fulfillment. I was looking for this, and I got fucked. But okay, so what's the plan now?
Yeah.
And the plan started becoming, and I was the biggest advocate. Like, I was like, oh, meditation, okay, like, or like vision boards, or this bullshit, or this bullshit. But it fucking, like, for somebody that just didn't believe in any of that, when you start reading about it, when you start reading these scientific books that is like, this is like quantum physics type shit. Like, this is stuff that is rooted in science. Like, this isn't just like, hey, if you sit down and you fucking close your eyes, you're gonna feel better. Like, this, if you practice it every single day, if you go out there, you are energy. We are all energy. Yeah. Like, that is just proof here. you walk into a room and you instantly know, like, oh, I'm gonna get along with this person or I'm not, or you feel fucking weird, like, oh, there's a bad vibe here. That's energy.
Well, it's all
frequencies, there's all
vibrations, and with the sound and the F key or whatever and whatnot. It's like all in sync with the sound the sun makes, and
the sound.
Like,
you have sound baths too. Like the best way with sound baths is like if you have a big disc of sand on a drum and you hit the drum, the sand vibrates back into a line. It's the same thing with the molecules and the cells inside of our bodies, because it's all scattered all the time with the fucking cell phones and radio waves and all this. We're always scattered. So you go to sound baths, you do meditation, it gets you back in line. And the crazy shit about it is when you're operating at a higher frequency, you start attracting people into your life that are on that same type of frequency. If you're constantly like, oh, my life fucking sucks and this and that and no one loves me and this, yeah, okay, well, you're gonna attract that. It's gonna keep happening.
Yeah, there's a real manifestation that occurs with thought process and outlook on life. Yeah,
that's a huge thing, and it's not easy, like you said. The thing is, when you're in those moments where there is no light at the end of the tunnel, and I've been there, man. Like it's like fucking you're staring in the mirror bald and you're like no money and you're like got people beating on your door ready to kill you. It's like, now what? But you got to take that first step. And I think for me, it was literally open. There was like a psychology book on the table and I opened it and I like, why do I feel like this? And then you take the next step and then you take the next step. And then I'm like, you know, like I'm building a vision board and I'm doing this. And like, I still don't have the fucking, you know, the Lambo. I still don't have the Lambo. It's still on the fucking vision board. But like, you know, eventually.
You check other things off.
Lambos are overrated anyway.
I don't want the Lambo. I got the Shiba Inu.
Lambo.
Yeah. I got the Shiba
Lambo.
Inu.
I think you made a good point about everything putting one foot in front of another and going in succession, because people get overwhelmed often by looking at that big picture. It's a lot, and it's like, oh my God, I'm bald, and this just went to shit, and this is happening, and that's happening, and blah blah. Whereas if you're like, all I need to do is read the psychology book, let me do that, and not focus on anything else. Then it's like, okay, cool, miniature win, I got that done. Yeah. And then so by those little micro succeeds and accomplishments, you built, versus like shooting for like, the moon of getting the big thing all at once and getting everything on your vision board all at once. You're going through and checking stuff off. So I think a lot of people focus on.
I do like actual lists of like. You want to come up here?
I said I'm out of here.
For those listening, Ryan picked his dog up.
There you go.
So she can be on the mic.
There you go. You want to be on the mic?
We have 3 minutes, by the way.
I think for me too, it's like one of those things where I just make a physical list. Like I like to cross shit off.
I do post
because like I have to, because like if anything's in my phone, I feel like
you retain it when you physically write it down.
And it like sticks in there. So I think, I don't know, man. I think all that stuff. So I think the big thing is like you just, like you said it best. You have to put one foot in front of the other, and even if it's like small stupid shit every single day, you're still gonna get, even if it's like a minor win, even if it's something like, for me, I always have to be creating content. Like whether it's a music video, my photography, a movie, writing, like if I'm not creating content in some aspect of the way, I'm not happy. So I know that every single day I have to put something out there, and then it gets me to that next point. And I think you just have to figure out what it is that you love and take that step. Even if you're fucking sitting in depression, and we're in such a great time of people identifying that there is a lot of mental health, there is a lot of issues that people have like kept in the closet for so many years now. But it's okay to like ask people for help. It's okay to be like,
very true.
Like, I'm not okay, I'm not well, because there's always gonna be somebody that can help you when you're ready for that. And I think that's the most important thing, that like we're in this time now, because it used to be like, oh, like let's not talk about it.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm the first one now. Like I'll literally, like Thomas or somebody hits me up and they're like, yo man, how you doing? If I'm not doing well, I'm like, fucking not well. But like it for me, it makes me feel a little bit better than what I used to do, and just like hide in a corner.
Yeah.
Well,
That's what I do.
There
I'm
you
a
go.
cancer crab. I go into my shell and just block out the world.
Well,
Turn my
there you
phone
go.
off.
Now you can text us, and I'll send
Awesome.
I'll send Lily over for you.
Yeah, so you
Lily.
play with Rogue.
Yeah.
Well, my other dog. Awesome, Ryan. Thank you so much for coming on the
Yeah.
show, man.
Thank you. It's been great.
You got any projects, anything coming up you want to leave the people with? You want to plug, promote? I mean, we could throw whatever up in the description, but for the good folks at home, you got anything you're working on? You got social media you want to direct anybody anywhere?
Check out my. You can follow all my stuff. It's on Instagram at Ryan Gregory Phillips, RyanGregoryPhillips. Just my name. And then, I mean, everything I do is on there. And I've got the 2 movies coming up, so keep an eye out for that. Got a couple other music videos as well, Floyd Wonder, all that fun stuff. And go buy yourself a Mobot.
Oh yeah, buy a Mobot.
Dude,
Mobot.com.
when your movies come out, we got to have you come back on because that was an hour and a half. It flew by like nothing,
That went fucking
dude.
quick,
And
man.
I was still ready to keep talking. We're gonna have to get out of this studio.
I'll bring the book. I'll bring the books next time. The
We'll
psychology
read them
books.
on air.
Yeah. As long as I get another dope ass intro like that.
Fuck yeah.
Carl's got you.
Yeah, I got
Fuck
you.
yeah.
Carl's got the hookup.
Yeah.
man.
All right,
Very cool.
Carl, you got anything you want to tag out?
Just Mississippi Enforcer Poppy Call on the internets and whatnot. Check out the Ding Dong Show at the Comedy Store on Mondays and the Belly Room 10 o'clock. We always there. Also on the YouTubes and whatnot. GT's Comedy Jam, 2 shows a month. If you're a stand-up comedian or a fan, come and laugh your ass off. All the films and things we do that's out there, like The Clapper and everything else, and Office Uprising, and we got future things coming out. Also check out the Big 3, Don Barris, and then we got some work coming out this upcoming summer. And soon, I'm actually going to be making an announcement in the next couple of weeks about a 2020 presidential situation that may involve me.
That's hilarious.
Oh boy.
You are so amazing.
Oh,
I
boy.
love you.
This is Thomas peeking out from behind the producer's board. You can follow me on Instagram at TMcD with 2 underscores, and that is it. It's all.
Better make that a little bit easier to fucking search for.
I think I'm just gonna change my name to my name.
Yeah, I think so.
I don't know why I haven't done that already.
Step 1, Thomas. Step
Go
1.
try to find him on Twitter.
Yeah, it's impossible.
Sailor_dev on Instagram. But more importantly, go follow Skitbags on Instagram, Facebook. You can go follow our YouTube channel if you're listening to this on Dash in your car or on your app. All around the world, make sure you go and watch us on YouTube. It's the only way you get a bird's eye view of the beautiful studio and all of our lovely faces. Also, go to the website. You can check out all the projects that we're working on. Skitbags.com. We got Fight Dub. New episodes coming through. The Mix and Serve is up and going. We got a bunch of stuff that's coming down the heat wave. Jane Silent Bob reboot comes out here soon.
True.
We got that coming
True.
through on the fall. So, big things. Big tings. Big tings, as them Drake rappers say. And shout out to the rappers for the NBA.
Right.
Skitbags Radio, we up!
Skitbags Radio.